How you doing, folks? This is Pete Gardiner here, and I just want to say thanks for watching Music News.
Pete Gardiner, it's great to see you. How you doing today?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Absolute pleasure. Yeah, you're here to play Music News HQ in North London. House gig. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, big time. Looking forward to it so much. I arrived in London a year and a half early just to play for you tonight. Yeah.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
How did the house gig idea come about?
It's something my manager's been pushing for. My manager does a lot of research online, and he had heard that a lot of artists were having success at the moment through playing house gigs and accumulating their fan base through that. So I thought I would try and break into it.
I bet it's a very good idea, and
it's a good idea. Yeah.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I mean, the debut album Ashtray Black was released earlier this month.
That's right.
How would you sum it up?
Well, it sort of plays out like a diary of the last 10 years of my life. Back in Ireland, I released a series of EPs independently, and when it came time to release a debut album with the label, I thought I would handpick the best songs that I'd collected over the years and try and put together a sort of just a bit of a early best of. You know?
I bet that's what it sounds like. It's an absolutely smashing record. I loved it. I mean, Ashtray Black with the title. What does that signify?
Well, the title track was actually written when I wrote the lyrics to Ashtray Black. I was thinking about a woman who lived next door to my parents' house, whose her son was tragically killed in a car accident on his way home from work one afternoon. This is about 10 years ago, and when I heard what happened to him, I'd never lived near anybody where something so tragic had happened before, and I felt compelled to write something, and it was the first sort of important song that I wrote, and it's been with me ever since, so I felt it quite fitting to put that as the title track on the album.
Yeah, well, it's a great song, definitely. Is there a particular theme running through it then, or
running through the album?
Yeah.
There are two sides to it. One side is the typical heartbreak side. You know, I always find myself to be a much more accomplished songwriter when I'm longing for a girl that I can't have than I am when I'm beside somebody. So there's about 4 or 5 of those, and the other side of the song, I suppose you could call it social commentary. There are a couple of songs in the album where I play the role of a private investigator or something like that, trying to pretend that I know a thing or two about what's going on in the world. Talking about songs like Idols and Doorstep Riots.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, unbelievable. I mean, lyrically, you're well up there. You know, you come from that singer-songwriter mold. What comes first, sort of the lyrics or the music?
Well, usually I would think of a couplet, like a rhyming, maybe a verse, like 4 lines. And that's what sparks everything off, just to maybe even 2 lines, and that comes to me at a very inappropriate times, like just before I'm about to fall asleep, or when I'm supposed to be doing something else, and then I sort of build on it whenever I'm sitting messing around with the guitar. You know, my iPhone's filled to the brim with I think I'm almost done in memory, just with these little verses here and there that all hopefully will amount to something at some stage.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed the album, as I said, and it's really sort of happily melancholic, if I can sort of say that. I mean, it's my favourite sort of niche. For me, it reminded me a lot of.
That's a fair description, yeah. Because I try to put melancholic lyrics to a very happy, upbeat tune. You know, I try to balance things out that way.
I mean, the Smiths sort of worked like that a lot as well.
That's right.
Back in the day, lyrically and musically. But it reminded me a lot of Lloyd Cole as well. And I heard that you don't even own a Lloyd Cole album.
I've never. You're probably about the 42nd person to compare me to Lloyd Cole, and I've yet to buy one of his albums. I don't know what he sounds like. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him, and I probably should look into him because you know, people tell me that's a compliment.
You know, absolutely.
And I do. I love a lot of songwriters from that era, but for some reason Lloyd Cole's not somebody I've ever investigated.
Yeah, no way. You should certainly check him out. Yeah. But yeah, who inspires you then musically?
Well, I grew up listening to a lot of rock bands from the 80s. That's how I got into songwriting. I was trying to imitate people like Steven Tyler from Aerosmith and Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses, but that was when I was in my teens, and then when I got into my early 20s, I realised how important people like Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen were, and they've been very heavy influences on me ever since. Bruce Springsteen as well. More recently, I've been listening to Joni Mitchell and Tom Waits.
Yeah. I bet all classic singer-songwriters for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mercury winner Tommy McLaughlin saw he produced the album. How did that come about?
Well, he was introduced to me through a mutual associate of ours. There was a man who was working for my record label who actually went to school with Tommy's manager, and because I was from Ireland, I guess he thought, why not send Pete down to meet Tommy and see if they gel together. So I went down to meet him one day, and we just decided to make a record together, you know.
Yeah, no,
so it was as simple as that, you know. There was nothing more to it. I just went down to meet the guy, and he seemed to like a lot of the same bands I was listening to, so we just decided to go for it, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
save me a trip to London to meet somebody else.
Yeah. Idols is a real classic on the album. What is that about?
Idols?
Yeah.
It's hard to say what it's about, because if you listen to it, it's actually a lot of non sequiturs. You know, one sentence doesn't really have anything to do with the sentence before it, but it's supposed to all point in the same direction. I'm not sure where the direction leads to, but it all accumulates to something. You know, there was a couple of lines. There was one line about the plane that went missing, and there was another line about, you know, and in the same verse there was a line about Cheryl Cole. So you know, it's all over the place, Idols, but that's something I do all the time. It's just a lot of non sequiturs that are supposed to not tell a story but create a mood.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, I hear you've been collaborating with Liv Austin as well, writing songs to pitch to the great and good in the US.
Yeah, well, Liv Austin's great. I want to be like I want to team up with Liv Austin and be like the modern day Bob Dylan and Joan Baez team. You know, she's great. You know, she's a very talented songwriter. She's got a great voice and great lyrics. You know, so it was just a really good fit. Met her at a hotel when we were playing the same gig one night. My manager said you should write a song with her, and a month later we were in the studio together and we wrote 2 duets together, and you know, it's all, and since then she's actually signed to my record label, so just history in the making, you know. Yeah,
something's gonna happen there then. A great video for Pretty Smiles. What bar was it filmed in?
I can't remember the name of the bar. It was an old bar in Manchester. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it just had the right, whatever the bar was, it just had the right vibe. We're trying to create that 1930s, 1940s sort of vibe. You know, unfortunately we couldn't resurrect Marilyn Monroe for the video. You know, we couldn't do that, but we created that nostalgic sort of I don't know, sort of old gangster in the wire sort of vibe. You know?
And a great tune, possibly my favourite on the whole album.
Thank you. A lot of people prefer the acoustic version of that song. You know, yeah. Have you ever heard the acoustic version?
It's tonight.
Yeah. Well, I don't have much choice but to play you the acoustic version tonight. Unfortunately, I've only got my guitar. But yeah. So it's just I don't know. A lot of people just say they like the acoustic version better. I like both.
No, but a good song's a good song. I think you can play any version, to be honest. I mean, recently I just went over to Output Belfast, really impressed with the standard of music there. I know you're from Newtonards in Northern Ireland. What's the scene like there?
Well, there's not much of a scene in Newtonards. I mean, there was 1 or 2 bars you could play in, but there wasn't much of a community as far as music was concerned. But if you go to the town next door, Bangor, there's a real wealth of very, very talented songwriters. You know, there's a guy called Dan Mulligan lives there, a guy called Stephen McCartney, Mike Donaghy. You know, these are absolutely phenomenal songwriters, and they're right on my doorstep. You know, so I felt I was lucky enough to go around with in the same circuit as those guys. Belfast is the same. You know, I didn't play too much in Belfast. I played a few bars, but there was a real community in Bangor. You know, that's where the songwriters hub is, as far as I'm concerned. You know.
Great. I mean, you're based in London now. What do you think of this great city of ours then?
Very fast. Everything comes at you very fast. You know, you can't move. Everybody's just. I don't know why, but every time I'm walking down the street, everybody else seems to be walking the other way. You know, but it's great. It's great. You know. You know, a lot of dangerous girls that live in London. You know, there were a few dangerous girls that lived in Northern Ireland, but I didn't realise the extent of the epidemic until I moved to London. You know, it's serious over here.
Yeah, definitely. You have to be careful there for sure. I mean, producer Paul Hardcastle's part of your label team as well. What's he like to work with?
He's great. He didn't work with me hands-on on the album, but he's the chairman of the record label, and he's a great guy, great to work for and great to work with. Yeah, it's really good fun, you know.
Yeah,
and it's good. Well, it's good to have somebody like that with the label, because he's been through it himself as an artist, and then now he's on the other side, so you know he sort of gets where you're coming from.
Yeah, he's got his feet on the ground, but you know, still reaches for the stars, I guess.
Yeah.
And you toured with Lawson. So how was that? And did you steal any of their fans?
I stole 2 or 3 of their fans, I think. You know, it was strange because it probably wasn't the right fit. They were a different type of band. I didn't know who they were when I went on tour with them. I just heard they were looking for a support act, and we applied because I was just busting to get on tour. It turned out they were lovely guys, like really nicest guys you could ever meet. In terms of genre, they were completely different than me, so I don't know if it was the best fit. But as far as the type of people to tour with, you know, you couldn't ask for a better bunch of guys to go on tour with. They were really very, very hospitable.
Yeah, nice bunch.
And we had a great night playing with them every night, you know. Yeah, it was a really, really fun tour.
Good. Away from the music, what do you like getting up to?
What's that?
Away from the music.
Away from the music, well, you know.
Dangerous girls go.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thanks a lot for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, no problem.
For someone just getting into Pete Gardiner, what sort of 3 songs would you say should, you know, get online, check these 3 out?
At the moment?
Yeah.
There's a live version I put on YouTube recently of the song on the album, £10 in My Pocket. Video-wise, the Pretty Smiles is the way the video turned out. I think it gives you a little bit of an insight into my personality. And the song Idols, it's I think Idols is lyrically it's something I'm very proud of. So yeah, it's a 3rd song. I mean, to be honest, I'm hoping to put a lot more songs online in the near future that'll give people a better idea of what I'm about. But at the moment, those are the 3 songs that are available, and those are 3 songs I would have to recommend.
Excellent. And live-wise, when can people sort of catch you sort of playing quite regularly?
Well, I play quite regularly around the bars in London, so if the gigs are always updated on the Facebook site or the website, thepetegardiner.co.uk, so if you just check it out, they're always updated regularly, so you can come and catch me playing around London. I've got a couple of festivals in the pipeline, but I can't be too specific at the moment.
Good. Well, sounds like things are happening. Yeah. Thanks a lot for your time. Anything else you'd like to say to Music News watchers?
No, I just wanted to say thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the support.
No, absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to the show.
All right, thank you. All right.
Cheers.
Yeah.
And you're looking forward to it?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I've been looking forward to it so much. I arrived in London a year and a half early to play. Oh, I think somebody wants in. Yeah. Should we let her in?
No. It just wants some food.
Yeah, it's okay. It's alright. It's not the first time this has happened during an interview, don't worry about it.
Looks good. Sorry.